Vroom, 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 vroom. In this video, I will break down the 3 things that I have noticed people are struggling with a lot when jumping into the racing simulator for the very first time. This is based on observing my friends and family when they are using my rig for the first time and having trouble to get around the track. The 3 things are braking, shifting and turning. For this presentation, we are at the beautiful Mount Panorama and we are sitting in the Mazda MX-5 Cup car, the best racing car ever made. You are probably looking at something similar to what I have here. Some sort of wheelbase connected to a steering wheel. The steering wheel has the paddle shifters for shifting gears up and down, and beneath your feet you will have 2 pedals, throttle on the right and brake on the left. Let's take a look at the bottom of the screen where you will see the telemetry chart. This chart is showing the inputs that you're giving to the car. And so we have the green bar and the green line that is showing the throttle inputs, as well as the red bar and the red line that is showing the brake inputs. On the racetrack, you need to get used to operating the brake pedal with your left foot. This is different to driving on the road, and at first it may feel a little bit strange, similar to when you are right-handed and you try to ride with your left hand. But this is very important. But why is it so important, you may ask? Well, for 2 good reasons. One is the speed of the inputs that you're providing to the car. The other one is consistency. Let's look at the speed of the inputs. So first we'll be using the right foot for braking. Pay attention how quickly the car is changing from accelerating to braking. It's just an instant. Now I will try to use my right foot and move it between 2 pedals. You can see a small gap on the chart, but you can also see that the break between the car accelerating and actually slowing down is way bigger. And this matters on the track a lot, where you're fighting for tenths or hundredths of a second. The second reason for using your left foot for braking is consistency. So on the racetrack, when you're approaching a corner, you want to get to your braking marker and hit the brakes exactly at the right moment with the exact force, and then start decreasing the braking force as you're going through the corner. Now, when you're doing that with the left foot that is just resting on the pedal and waiting to press it, it's way easier to hit the right force and then to reduce the braking force progressively through the corner, as opposite to when you need to move your right foot and then make all of that tiny adjustments when the foot is hanging somewhere in the air or just finding the new spot on the footrest. Let's have a look at left foot braking. Every time I hit the brake with my left foot, I'm able to more or less find the same braking force and with quite good precision depress the brake at the moment I want to. When I'm doing that with my right foot, then the movement from one pedal to another causes the whole setup to reset. It means that my muscles must figure out in the new position how hard should they work and which actually are responsible for making the braking. This is way more difficult, and this is killing the consistency. And consistency is everything on the racetrack. Let's talk about shifting gears. And the first question is, why is it actually necessary to shift gears in a car? Well, the short answer is to keep the car in the optimal operating window, keep the engine in the optimal operating window. What does it mean? Well, the engine of a car is spinning, it's revving. Now, it is connected to the wheels, but very rarely do we need the wheels to spin at exactly the same speed as the engine is spinning. And that's why in between those two there is the gearbox. This is the magical box that is changing the input spinning speed to the output spinning speed. The input is coming from the engine, the output is going to the wheels. And when we are shifting the gears, then we are changing the ratio at which the engine and the wheels are connected. And we are doing this to keep the car in the optimal operating window. Now on the road, this optimal operating window is focused on the fuel economy, on the longevity of the engine, and on the noise reduction. On the racetrack, it's different. On the racetrack, we want to keep the car in the power band. It means that we want to keep it in the window at which the engine is making the most power. How do we know where that is? Well, you can read the manual, etc. But also there is a tool that is helping us to identify the power band in a car. Let's take a look at the dashboard of the Mazda MX-5. When we press the throttle and the revs go up, then the LEDs on the top of the dashboard are lighting up. And they are indicating to us the optimal moment for shift and where the power band actually is. So when we are here at around 4.9, 5000 RPM, the first green light comes up. As we are going up, then the second one lights up, then we have the orange lights, and then we have the red light. More or less you can assume that the first green light indicates in Mazda where the power band starts. That means this is the place where the car will accelerate relatively quickly when you go full throttle. When we go up, then and when we see the red lights light up, this means that it's time for shifting. Let's take a look how it looks when we are driving. So we have green lights, the orange light, and the red lights. And you can see that when we shift up, some of the lights still are on. And they are on because we are keeping the car in the optimal operating window for racing applications, meaning that we want to keep the car generating the maximum power. Now for downshifting, we are actually doing the same. We're trying to keep the car in the power band. As we are slowing down to the corner, we know that after the corner we'll be accelerating. So we want to keep the car in the power band so that when we are after the corner or even already during the corner, we can just press the throttle and start the car accelerating and going out to the next straight or heading to the next corner. The downshifting also supports the engine braking, and with that slowing the car down to the corner or even helping it rotate correctly to the corner. Have you heard that? Vroom, vroom, vroom. This is the sound that the car is making when you are downshifting the right way, but you can also take a look at the shift lights. When we are going down the gears, then they're actually, with each downshift, they are still lighting up in the power band. And this is combination of those two will give you the right moment for downshifting usually, and make sure that you are able to go out of the corner and start accelerating quickly and gain those precious tenths and hundredths of a second. For the last part related to turning, we are actually moving from Mount Panorama to iRacing's special centripetal circuit. This is an amazing place, basically a parking lot with circles painted on it. And the purpose of this track is to understand how the cars are actually turning. And the message I want to convey here is very simple. Rotating your wheel more does not translate to the car turning more into the corner. Let's have a look. So we are going in this circle that is a relatively big one, so we'll be able to gain some speed. I will go into the second gear, and now look, I'm trying to keep the car within the lines, but actually I speed up more, I try to turn more, and the car is going out. Let's get back to the line. Turning the wheel more is not necessarily making the car turn more. But if I take my foot off the gas, the car is going back in line. What is happening here is understeer. Understeer means that the car is not turning as much as you are asking it to. I will not go into detail of that, there is a lot more theory to that than this. But the simple message I want to get through here is that you need to adjust your steering angle to the speed and listen to what the car is telling you. When you're turning more and the car is going straight, just go out of throttle, ease off the throttle, and the car will get back to its line. If you just speed up with your wheels turned, it doesn't make the car turn more. And it may seem silly here because it's very obvious, but this is also what's happening when you're racing on a track and there is a corner and you're not able to make the corner. Just remember this. Turning the wheel less means sometimes that the front will regain the grip and the car will just get back in line. To sum it all up, brake with your left foot, shift up and down to keep the car in the power band, and when it comes to turning, sometimes less means more. Did you have similar issues when you first started sim racing? Or maybe you know someone who were struggling with this or other basics in the very beginning? Let me know in the comments below. Obviously there is way more to each of those topics, and driving technique is a very broad and nuanced area. In this video I didn't have time for more and I just wanted to scratch the surface with the very basics. If you found it useful or interesting, please like the video and don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss any future uploads. See you in the next one.